Today, we're going to talk about this guy. Hey, what's going on? It's Ryan. Welcome to another one of my videos. If we can just take a second real quick and just have you hit that subscribe button, that would just mean the world to me. With that, let's get into the video. So last week I did my first unboxing of the Reto 3D camera, which you can actually find right here. Check it out. It's really good. I had a lot of fun making it. It's a first real consumer level 3D camera that's come out in a long time. Check it out. I will have photos and a full review of that in the next week or so once I get that film developed. But to keep in this 3D thing that we're going on, it seems like I'm doing a 3D montage or something, because I still want to make a video about how to take photos and scrunch them in to the GIFs that we're going to be talking about today that you can make with this camera. But to stay on course of our 3D kind of journey, today I wanted to talk about the Nishika N8000. So this is a more real deal, extremely, I wouldn't say professional, but a better higher level than the Reto 3 camera. It has 4 lenses on it, and it really gives you an incredible 3D effect in the photos. This camera definitely gives you better, higher quality results than the Reto 3D camera that we talked about last week. So I just wanted to talk a little bit first about the camera, and then we'll go into a review of the photos, and then at the end I'll tell you kind of what I thought and what you should do. Should you get this? Should you get the Reto 3D? Should you get neither? Should we just get over this whole 3D thing? We'll get to that. So the Nishika N8000 is a 4-lens 3D camera. So there's 4 lenses that capture slightly tilted photos for each frame. So when you put them all together in post, it gives that wavy 3D form back, because each lens is taking a photo slightly curved from the other photo. It's a regular 35mm camera, so it takes regular 35, whether that's color or whether that's black and white. So let's take a quick look at the camera, all about it, and just go over it, and then we'll get into the photos and then the review. So on the front of the camera, as we can see, there are 4 lenses. Those 4 lenses, like I said, all fire at the same time, but from each different angle. So it's 4 different angles, very slightly off from each other, to give you that 3D effect in the final image. Above that, we have the eye, the viewfinder, the eye, where you look through the camera to see what you're seeing. On each side of the viewfinder, you can see these little circles. That is the exposure meter, because you need to make sure, like I said, that there's enough light coming into this camera so it gets properly exposed, and there is something internally in the camera. So when you're looking through the viewfinder, if you have enough light, you'll just see what's in front of you in the viewfinder. If there's not enough light, it's going to show you this big red dot saying, hey man, there's not enough light in this. It's going to come out really, really dark. Now, next to the actual cameras is a really interesting function that helps us decide where we're going to, and show the camera where we're going to be actually using this camera. So there's 3 different modes. There's bright sunlight, so we're outside, it's bright out, it's sunny, so that means the flash won't fire and that the images will get exposed properly. Next, we have a cloudy day, so you're still outside, it's still daytime, but there are some cloud coverages, so it's a little darker. The flash will most likely fire. And then finally, we have this super cloudy / indoor kind of setting where the flash will always fire for something like this. If we turn it around, on the back we have where the film is actually loaded, and when we open it on up, you can see the 4 different lenses from the back side, and then inside there is where we hold the actual film canister, and then on the other side the spool that takes it up. Now, just like I said with the 3D Reto camera, this is going to expose 4 different images onto this film, so it's going to be a long stretch that this film is going out on. So when you wind it, you're going to want to do it slowly and gently, because if you do it too hard and fast, fast, you're either one, gonna break the film, or two, it's not gonna catch in the teeth and you're gonna get double exposures, or you're just gonna get blank negatives. So make sure when you load it to get it into that spool correctly, and then when you wind it gently. Don't strong arm this thing. This thing's gentle. Be gentle with it. When you advance that film, do it gently, because you don't want to break the film or drop it out of the canister. Make sure that the tension is good. We want to make sure that the tension is good when we're taking these photos. On the other side, we have our advancement lever. And remember, like I said, make sure to advance slowly. Now, just like with the Reto camera, when we use a 35 millimeter film with something like 36 exposures, we're going to have to account for like 4 exposures on one shot. So you're only going to really get like 18 shots out of a roll. So remember, just like with the Reto camera, you're going to want to make sure to plan the shots ahead and, plan it out evenly, because you're not getting a full roll here. You're doing 4 exposures in one shot. This came with its own Nishika branded flash on it. It's got the top one and then a bottom one, because it really needs, it's just showing you it needs a lot of light to get these photos properly exposed. It flips on up so you can bounce it off the ceiling. That does not work at all. I just want to let you know right now, that this flash will only work and properly expose when it's pointing at someone. If you try to do something like that, like you bounce it off the ceiling like you would do with any other flash, it's only going to light half the scene. Half the person, half the freaking thing that you're taking a photo of. I learned this the hard way when I used my first roll, and all of my images, only the top freaking 20% of the image was exposed. So make sure, I don't care if you're feeling ballsy, this thing is not going to work unless it's pointing at the person. I'm telling you that. But that's the basic functionality and the basic distinctions of the camera. It's a really cool camera. It's a very unique looking camera. I mean, it kind of looks like the fish on The Simpsons, the 3-eyed fish that's swimming in the lake.
Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3.
So I took this camera with me when I went to shoot that incredibly handsome man Dare. You know, this guy right here. So after we were done shooting with the Mamiya, I took this camera and I said, hey, let's just have some fun and let's take some photos that are going to come out really 3D and really interesting. So I took this with me when we were down at the water in Brooklyn, and as we were walking around, every time I took a couple of Mamiya shots, I would take a couple of shots with this, and I'm happy to say that the photos come out really, really good if you expose them properly. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples right here of the ones that came out really good. But those are, just a couple of examples of how good this is. That was, these were when we first met up and he was sitting by the tree and stuff like that. They all came out really good. And then as we walked around, I took a couple of more. And then at the end of the shoot, when we got to that fence, I did a couple of interesting ones and a couple of fun ones. And I even had him take one of me taking a photo, because sometimes a photographer needs a photo of himself too. That's the thing. This camera can take photos that are extremely interesting, that you can make into these 3D GIFs. Now, one thing people might wonder is this something a local lab can do? And I can absolutely say that the Bushwick Community Darkroom, which is where I go to, check them out. They are incredible there. I'll leave a link for them below. They're just magnificent people there, and they do wonderful things for the film community. They can process this no problem. Just don't have them cut it or scan it. Let them do it yourself. On the end of scanning, I use a V600 by Epson, and it has the 35 millimeter scanners in it. you're gonna have to cut them up a little bit more than you would cut up a regular, because if you do 3 shots in a row, the third shot's gonna get cut off and it's just not gonna work. So you're gonna have to cut them 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So just remember that if you're scanning them yourself, that you're gonna have to cut them up a little bit different than you would a regular 35mm camera. All right, but all in all, this is a great camera. This is definitely a higher grade camera and higher quality camera than the Reto 3D. This is made from plastic, but that 4th lens really helps give you a super 3D look. But this is something like that doesn't really easily fit in a bag. So would I recommend this over the Reto 3D? No, I would recommend this over the Reto 3D if you want really accurate, high quality 3D photos. If you're looking to just get fun point and shoot 3D photos with your friends, nothing real serious that you want to put out there as serious work, get the Reto 3D. That's perfect for that stuff. But if you want something that's a little bit more professional, a little bit higher end, I would definitely suggest the Nishika N8000. You're really going to love this. So take a look at a couple of these other photos I took. I'm going to put some up on my Instagram. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram again, Ryan J. Leone. If you have this camera and you've taken some awesome photos, let me see them. I love the photos that this makes. Also, Instagram will not host or do the GIF properly, so you're going to have to import them into Final Cut or Premiere Pro and make it into a movie, and then it will work in your Instagram. Instagram doesn't do GIFs for some reason, but they will do movies. So just put in an iMovie, eject it, and you're good to go. Thanks for watching the video. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, keep just shooting, and I'll see you in the next one.